What's up, everyone? Welcome into Moses Squared Podcast. We are back on the pod for the holiday season. It's your girl, Lauren Moses.
It's your boy, Desmond Moses. Super excited. And we've been cooking. It seems like it's been a while since we last got together, talk with our fans, talk with each other.
Yeah.
Lauren, tell them a little bit what we've been working on. Give them a little bit, not too much.
So you guys haven't seen us and haven't heard from us because we have been working on the side, trying to, make this duo that we always talk about, brother sister duo, just be more accessible to everyone on different platforms and just continue to grow as well as individuals in this space and obviously as a duo. So that's kind of what we've been working on. We're hoping that we can give you guys more information in the new year. The work side of things have kind of slowed down and it's time to get to business now when it comes to that project.
I got to stand up. I got repped it. Y'all see me in a pink shirt. This my man, changed my pen. He's a Jersey guy, cat that, I was new growing up. Solid brand. Somebody trying to jackdog brand right now. There's some copycat stuff going on, but I had to put it on the podcast. Wanted to say that because we're actually going to talk a little bit later on about another Black owned business that's about to do some big business, but we'll get into it. Lo.
First things first, Brittany Griner is free. Yeah. Brittany Griner is free, y'all. After 10 long months of being
that's crazy
in Russia, she was released back to the US, back to her family. The news was crazy, waking up to it on the television, on obviously the internet, and just seeing her on a plane returning to the States. That's
crazy. I mean, it's unbelievable in a lot of different, my first takeaway from it was, I watched her on a plane, she's flying, she almost seemed, a tick out of it. Obviously, she's been in some tough conditions late, Lo. She was taken to a work type boot camp environment where it wasn't just imprisonment, it was a labor type situation. Had her locks cut, as a person, as a former, dreadhead, I know the connection to your hair, especially when it's not your choice. A lot of different things going through my mind, even the fact that she was on the plane.
Yeah.
And a reporter asked her, the reporter asked her, shit, do you know where you're at? She's like, no. Do you know where you're going? She's like, no. Yeah. As an adult, as a human, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy, Lo.
But when you've been gone for so long, I have to imagine that you don't really believe it's real until you can actually see the people and the people that care for you and love you. But in regards to her hair situation, I've heard reports that she decided to cut it because, and again, it's against her will because she clearly has grown it out and all those things, but it is cold. It's freezing in Russia. And so she was out, called a penal colony. For her to be working outside, outdoors, her hair would, when it was wet, if she washed it in the shower, whatever the case is, it would freeze up. So she did have to eventually cut her dreads off. The fact that she is home is the news. The fact that she's home is something to be celebrated. She posted, days after she returned to the States, her first statement, broke her silence, whatever you want to call it, on Instagram, thanking everyone that supported her, said free.
It was a lot of support too. She had a lot of support. It
was a lot of support. And you have to
shout out to everybody. Yeah.
You have to have that much support. When you are someone that has had such an impact in the sports world, not even just basketball, but in the sports world, like she's bigger than life in the States. And so she received support from every which way, thankfully. And it did exactly what it needed to do, which was get her home. However, there's controversy, right?
However,
there is another American in Russia that has been detained longer than she has. Paul Whelan, he is a businessman and he's detained because Russia thinks he is a spy. So obviously when Brittany Griner, BG, was released, everybody and their mother who doesn't support this woman had something to say about the Biden administration not releasing or not trying to release Paul Whelan. They are trying to say BG shouldn't have came home if he wasn't coming home, or if they couldn't get both of them. I just think I can't even say it out my mouth. But essentially, if they couldn't get both of them or couldn't get him first, they don't think a basketball player is worth the deal of getting a drug dealer for Russia.
Yeah. Well, that was going to be, my takeaway. My next one, it was like, the trade itself seemed oddly skewed. We're talking about a basketball player. Obviously there was a law that allegedly was broken. One that seems to be not nearly as harmful, not nearly as dangerous as a person, as the exchange. But obviously for America, there was a lot of pressure put on by all of the people who we just praised. But the person that we exchanged for was and is a fellow by the name of Victor Bout, nicknamed the Merchant of Death. This is something that just doesn't sit well with me. Mm-hmm. I'm glad BG's home. I mean, that's first and foremost, and happy holidays to her. Cheers. We got our little, we in a, but man, that's a real criminal that we exchanged for. So,
and that's real life too, because his actions have impacted many people's lives for a very long time. And so it's valid feelings to even feel like that those two shouldn't weigh the same amount. No. I just think in my response to, the people that have brought that up is just, this is Russia we're talking about. Mm-hmm. I don't think we're going to get a sound, sensible deal with Russia ever.
Facts.
So,
but I will say this too, Lo, just to piggyback, 14 years of a 25-year sentence. This man was let go of roughly 11 years early, by way of this trade. Mm-hmm. So it's that's a solid amount of time. He got off.
Yeah, he did. But again, we're staying in the spirits of Christmas, right? And another American gets to be home with their family for Christmas. So
yeah, cheers to that.
And I don't know if this is the business you were talking about, but there is a Black man who was, in an agreement, long-term agreement that was coming to an end in 2023, but abruptly ended because of his words. And I don't even know if you want to say, yes, you can say his words, but it initiated with an action, a subtweet. And I'm talking about Kyrie Irving and
a post,
Nike contract.
A post.
Yeah, a retweet. He retweeted or quote tweeted or whatever, a video or a trailer to a movie, an anti-Semitic movie back in October. He went through all the repercussions with the team, did everything that they wanted him to do, fines, apologies, all those things. But Nike says, hey, the damage is done. You said what you said, you did what you did. We want to break ties with you.
$11 million a year was the deal. That's what Kyrie was owed in this contract that Nike decided to, they decided to sever based on his freedom of speech. And funny enough, a retweet from obviously a larger company and corporation and Amazon Prime, in which this, this particular anti-Semitic, if you will. I feel like people use that word when they want to use that word and against whom they want to use the word. Kyrie, everything that came out surrounding this seemed like it was an educational piece. It seemed like he's trying to get an understanding, do research on who he is, where he comes from, why, and encourage others to do so. There was a group that sat courtside that was an anti-Semitic group. The language between them, this didn't seem like a conversation between a hostile man or a hateful man towards this group.
Yeah.
He's came out and said that very clearly. Look, I'm not trying to spread hate, spew hate, perpetuate hate in any way. I'm simply trying to encourage people to get an understanding, and that maybe everything that we were taught in these history books or in these U.S. curriculums, maybe everything we were taught may or may not be true.
Yeah.
Punishable by severance of Nike deal.
I think the person matters more than the action sometimes. Mm-hmm. We look at Kyrie, and I think what his name was in the news cycle for prior to this, for various reasons, whether it was COVID, whether it was his relationship with KD, whether it was him not wanting a trade, but KD wanting a trade and thinking that there was some type of beef between them. I think that when people demand a response, that is when these companies start shaking in their boots. They don't want anything to tarnish what they stand for and what they've stood for so long.
Do you believe that, Lo, or do you think that these companies are more critical of the Black or African American, however you want to, Black or brown skinned athletes? Do you think that they're more critical, held to a higher standard? Because it feels like,
I think it goes hand in hand, because these
okay,
athletes, and yes, there's certainly, you know, companies that look at
I'm
Black.
not even going to toss Kanye in because
we're not talking about that man.
He's in the whole.
We're not talking about that man.
He done tossed himself out the combo.
But yeah. But I think it goes hand in hand, because these are people who are usually the face of brand. These are the people who have the biggest stages. These are the people who have the biggest followings. These are the people who have the influence. And so whether they're Black or white or Hispanic, I think when you have a following, and because everything is tied to that follower count and the amount of influence you have now, I feel like that holds so much weight over you being a likable or brandable or promotional company in order to continue to grow. And Kyrie has his own line. So it's not like he just has a deal, or he's like you know how track athletes, they have a deal or partnerships with Nike and they wear their brand. That's totally different. This man has a whole line, and had a whole line that was about to come out or had just dropped, right? Like I think that is why these companies hop on the bandwagon, because we got the Stephen A's and we have the Shannon Sharps and we have, you know, TNT folk saying, yo, he's doing something wrong. There needs to be a response. There needs to be this, there needs to be that. And yes, hold people accountable. But I think that these companies just hop on it 10 days later talking about, I'm done with you.
Well, this is the upside, Lo, and this is actually the Black company that I was referencing. SIA Collection. SIA Collection is a Black owned another sneaker company. This was actually just promoted today by Music Soul Child. This line's been out for a while. Very artistic, you know, super edgy, ahead of the curve. Is apparently in talks to have the Kyrie. Yeah, a collaboration with the Kyrie brand and SIE, a Black-owned sneaker brand. Now, to our viewers, whoever's listening, go check out the sneaker line. I mean, they have some very interesting shoes that can convert from slippers. I mean, almost like a Nike, I would say Nike foam, a foam runner. Then they have a sneaker line. This is very interesting to me, because a person as, you know, prolific with the type of name, the likeness of a Kyrie, possibly collaborating with a Black-owned sneaker company, this could be the future of the sneaker business. If these athletes understand their value and understand that they can go partner and do business with who they want, the Steph Curry, they no longer need the Under Armours, they no longer need the Nikes. Nike might have actually did folks a favor. What do you think about that?
I think they definitely did people a favor, because I mean, I had never heard about that line, honestly, before you brought it up. And I think that because of who Kyrie is and the impact that he has in the Black community, it's not surprising to me at all. He's always the first person, celebrity or not, to give out a helping hand when Black families in traumatic situations and, you know, tragic situations, always lending a helping hand, whether that's with his presence or with his dollars. Always. So this isn't surprising to me. I hope that this is something that he does, because we need more powerful Black men and women to be the faces of these Black-owned companies. But I don't want to spend too much time on this, because there is someone that was in a similar situation to Kyrie. Deion Sanders, the face of HBCUs over the past 3 years, head coach of Jackson State, had the opportunity to go to Power 5, get up out of there. And he did. And I wonder if this shift that Kyrie's going to make in regards to his brand, what we're seeing from Deion, and will he get the backlash or anything similar?
No, this is the cool part about both. And I want to, kind of wrap that and connect right into this, Lo, because what I hope happens is what I think will happen. And what I pray will happen is, in Kyrie's case, that for the both, he and the company, financially, it works. That 11 million that they promised, I hope the company grosses 100 million a year, and guys see, and it honestly promotes change. Guys see, hey, we don't need this structure money. We'll get the real money now. Take back the ownership, just like Deion did. Deion, this man was on a 4-year, $1.2 million contract with Jackson State. Shout out to him. Blessed. He changed the game, the culture, everything.
Yeah.
But there's actually folks mad that this brother went and took a job for 5 years, $30 million. He's making, 10 times more than what he made before. Not that it's all about the money, but he's still going to provide the same opportunity to young men, black men, whoever. Yeah. Like, what are y'all mad about? Like, this is how it goes. If y'all don't know,
changed the game, not even just for HBCU football. We got top 10 recruits for basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, wanting to go to HBCUs now.
Yeah.
And not because they didn't have an interest in it before, but they've realized that opportunities are being brought to HBCUs now because there's more attention, there's more light, there's more funding going there.
Mm-hmm.
Something that Kyrie has also done. But in regards to Deion, I think the numbers are cool to look at in regards to how much he's making. And, Colorado, the AD even said, like, we don't have this money yet, but we're going to get it. And I think that is another avenue for former ballers, whether it was professional or college, to go back and coach, because when a school is putting their trust in you after, 3 years coaching, by the way, obviously had a prolific professional career, multi-sport athlete, but
multi-professional sport athlete. Like that. Deion, prime time, baby. Brother's different. I think he's head and shoulders above just a lot of people. I think he's 3-4 steps ahead of, what people can understand, can fathom, and when you're in that position, when you're that type of person, you're cutting edge, you have to deal with a lot of criticism, a lot of hate, because people just don't understand your moves until after you finish them.
Yeah.
It's like asking someone to understand your vision, to see your vision. It's not realistic. It's your vision, so even that's what, when it comes to dreams and aspirations and certain things, you got to be careful who you tell them to.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's like, if you know anything about college football, about coaching, about anything, which obviously coming from the background that I come from, this is standard. When you're a good football coach at a school, there's a next level, a next tier, a pay increase. He's not moving side. This guy's taking a serious pay increase to a next tier of schools where he can provide those same opportunities. And we've already seen a slew of his former players coming with him, already transferred. Things aren't going to change. They're going to get the same Deion. He's going to be the same special motivator, mentor, father figure.
And that's my biggest part about who Deion is as a coach, because people can say, college football is a business. Yes, it is. One of the most lucrative businesses in the world.
Excuse us. It's actually considered.
It is a nonprofit. Supposedly.
It's a nonprofit.
However, aside from all of that, his impact, not only in the HBCU space, not only in his own program, but the example that he shows his players of how to handle this business, how to not look out just for you, despite it being a business. It's also a team. So how to be a good teammate, how to be a good student first before you're an athlete, how to go out and get yours in the NIL space. All of these things, all the tools that he's providing them are free. That's who he is. I don't get how people can hate on the brother. Well, and not even hate. It's more. It is. A lot of people say you can't. Hate. It comes from love, and I think the reason why people were so upset because they saw it. Yeah. They saw what he did.
They did. They did.
And they wanted him to be a part of it forever, and that's just not realistic.
Or until they saw him fail. Either way, it's a lose-lose. You can't you can't live to make other folks happy because you never will. It'll never be quite enough.
Yeah.
You know, so shout out to Deion.
That's a perfect segue.
Shout out to Deion.
Shout out to Deion. Shout out to Deion and best of luck at Colorado, brother. I do want to segue because you said something that I'm holding on to.
What's that?
You gotta get yours. You gotta go out and get yours. And there's something that's kind of lingering in the rap space and the Black culture right now. And there's a case, YSL. Woo! There's some people that's dropping like flies in regards to taking plea deals, offered plea deals. Whether they snitching or what, I don't know. But
they singing like they didn't got the.
I'm curious. I don't know. So for our listeners who may not know what it is exactly that we're talking about, you tell them.
YSL, Young Thuggers, label Slime, Young Gunna. These guys have been indicted on not federal but state RICO charges. A lot of these cats, and I'm talking about his label mates, were facing between 8 and 10, 15 years, not a ton of time. But as of 2 to 3 weeks ago, plea deals start coming down. So initially, there was a plea deal that was offered and accepted by YSL's own and very rap superstar, if you will, young Gunna. Gunna wanna. Young Thug's right-hand man. So he drops a statement as soon as he comes out, man, I'm not snitching, this, that, the third, you know. And interesting because obviously it seems like almost a very defensive response. People didn't like it. As the time goes on, these deals continue on, you know, people are getting critical now. You're snitching because people who saw the plea deals, who saw the court proceeding, clearly stated, here are these people state. The judge asked, is YSL a gang? Defendant who pleads, who says he doesn't tell, says, yes, Your Honor, to my knowledge. This is where things get tricky. Really, it's not that tricky. That's snitching. Because what they're going up against is a RICO case, which is the claim that this is a gang, a criminal establishment that plans to do crime, has done crime, and is organized. And what you're saying is, yes, your man's, who is also your label mate, Young Thugger, is in fact, criminal. That's criminal. What these pleas are saying.
Yeah.
But the latest is interesting. Unfunk, this man's, I believe, blood brother, got the latest plea.
I just saw that. Mm-hmm.
They're accepting him back though, but not the others. I'm lost. That's where I'm lost at now. I don't know. I
mean, we're not in the courtrooms. We don't see,
and we're not in the street, y'all. We not. We far removed. Very
far removed. I feel like we're just among the chatter, right? Because a lot of people are saying, you know, as soon as Gunna said that that there was a plea or whatever, everybody was like, oh snap. Everybody look out.
Yeah.
Gunna, I don't know. Better go in hiding. But in regards to snitching, because that's a part of that, we learned that very young. Snitches get stitches. In regards
this not the same game I grew up on. I don't care nothing about, honestly, I don't care about these guys anymore.
Yeah.
Because I see Takeshi 6ix9ine and he's running around and they're letting them. This is not the things that I knew. So I'm thankful that God put me on a new route because, you know, these things have changed. And if I had to bet my bottom dollar, I would say that they'll accept these guys back in due time. That's the new culture. Whatever you want to call them.
Sheesh.
Cheesehead, rats, ratatouilles, whatever you want to call them, they'll be back in the swing of things in no time. In fact, I heard a Gunna song today in the sneaker store.
I also heard a Gunna song already. That's new. So
It is what it is.
Here we go. I mean, back to normal. Because in the spirit of the holidays, when I really think about it, all the topics that we've talked about, it seems like everybody just trying to get home for Christmas.
Hey, one of their baby mothers called up and said, "Hey, baby, everybody out here getting deals, right? They giving out deals. You can go ahead and get you one. It's Christmas time. We miss you."
But stay on the lookout for our project that we talked about at the top of the show. But to wrap up, Des, one more thing.
What you got?
What was your favorite and worst gift ever? I know worst gift is kind of harsh. Like, dang.
I know, because I
listen.
I got a dog. I got a dog on Christmas, which was cool, but it was like, you don't give somebody a dog. You feel me? Like, you give somebody something that they can put away, put in their pocket. You know what I'm saying? Like, put on the show. You dealt me a whole responsibility, young lady.
Whole responsibility.
Folks know who I'm talking to. That was a cool gift. You know what I'm saying? One of my favorite dogs, but just a rule of thumb, like, don't give people a whole responsibilities. Like, unless they asking for it. Like, damn. What about you, Lo? What you got?
I don't know if I can't think of any worse gifts, but like if I had to choose, it would probably be clothes or like a coat that like I wouldn't have chosen for myself.
Hey, mama, let me get some of that Avon though. We done all got some of that.
The Avon, but the Avon wouldn't even technically be, that's not even bad because that's
straight.
Free lotion. That's free skincare. That's free everything. I appreciate that, my mom. Love you, girl. Okay. And then best one as a kid, I would probably say it was a bike because then I felt like a big kid. I felt like I could do stuff. But yeah, gifts.
Yeah, I'm about to say bike. Yeah, I'm saying when I was a kid though, I used to get the drum sets. I was always,
you had a
what I'm
dope
saying?
Drum set.
I was tapped into that music thing since a youngin'. And this is a fun story I'm gonna tell before we go. I told one of my good friends this the other day. I was a young artist. I thought I was gonna be a rapper, y'all. You feel me? When Bow Wow and them little Romeo and them dropped, I was on the joint recording the tape. I'm sending them up to Def Jams. I was cussing like a dog. I was probably a little ahead of my curve. Let's say that. I wasn't brandable yet, but yeah, one love. Happy holidays to everybody. We appreciate y'all tuning in. This
Enjoy
is
your family.
Moses Squared.
Yes, sir.
It's your boy Desmond Moses.
And it's your girl Lauren. We out.